Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head across to Øresund once again to Copenhagen in Denmark, which, as I've told you many a time, is one of the best craft beer cities in the world in my humble opinion. And for this one we're going to revisit a brewery who I've reviewed a couple of things from now, and I've always been very impressed with them, be it on the lighter side of the spectrum with the IPAs or on the darker side of the spectrum with the Imperial Stout. So for this one we are going to go back to Dry and Bitter Brewery once again, and we're going to have a taste of the Untappd today. So this one is an IPA coming in at 6.3% ABV, and it's supposed to be really heavily dry hopped, and you know, the hoppier and fruitier the better in my opinion when it comes to IPAs. I do say that both in the case of the West Coast IPA and the New England one. So really looking forward to trying this one. Probably my favourite beer that I've had from these guys I would say would be the Hobo Chick. That was a beautiful West Coast IPA, but the Double Dippy Do I think was the last one that I reviewed from these guys, and again that was a very, very nice beer. So really looking forward to this one. It comes in at 6.3% as I said, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Dry and Bitter before. No doubt I'll add some more in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Danish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Dry and Bitter Brewery then, on to my brewery notes quickly. So Dry and Bitter Brewery were founded in 2015 by the owners of Fermentoren. This is Soren Parker Wagner and Jay Pollard, and it was a continuation of the Crooked Moon brewing brand. But they were also involved in founding Øl Kollektivet, which is a collective brewing space in Görløse, which I believe used to be home to Stronzo Brewery, who unfortunately went out of business a couple of years ago. But they went on to found this with a couple of others who actually formed their own companies as well. But the brewery brew their beers here along with Gamma and Øsnedkeren, and Black Seed and Black Rooster and Ghost Brewing, and a few others have brewed their beers here at different points as well. But in addition to the Copenhagen Fermentoren, they do have another bar in Aarhus, which is over on Øland, the kind of mainland part of Denmark that's attached to Germany, and both of these Fermentoren bars have different beers that are brewed exclusively for them as well. But today they're brewing somewhere in the region of 200,000 litres of beer per year, and they also host their own festival called Fermentoren's Flying Circus as well at the bars. So yeah, I do recommend that you go and have a little look at Fermentoren if you're at the train station in Copenhagen. If you just go out the kind of, I want to say that is the west entrance actually, but if you just go to the back where the police station is, down the stairs and pretty much head kind of straight and left a bit, you will eventually find Fermentoren. It's really distinctive and underneath this kind of grey apartment block building, but a really nice little bar in there. I've been there a couple of times actually, and I do recommend that you check it out because they've always got some really interesting beers in there. So yeah, that's all you really need to know about Dry and Bitter Brewing Company. Basically the brewery division of Fermentoren, which is really cool. And if you get the chance, do go and check out Fermentoren for yourself in Copenhagen as well. You've got a lovely beer district very close to the central station in Copenhagen, and these guys do some very good IPAs both on the West Coast side of things and on the New England side of things too. I've had a good Imperial Stout from these guys as well. But that's all you need to know. If you want to learn a little bit more, check out the brewery website in the description below, and of course you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, and that will keep you up to date with all the latest goings on there. So yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. So as I said, this one is a 6.3% IPA. I do like the artwork on this one. It is quite sort of funky and modern if you like. So yeah, kudos to Dry and Bitter for having some really nice artwork on their beer. There you can see on the back of this can, there is the Dry and Bitter brewery symbol. The name of this beer incidentally is actually just spelled UW, but they call it UW. So yeah, it says on the back, UW, pronounced UW, is our super oily and uber hoppy India Pale Ale that combines dank and resinous flavours with tons of tropical fruit. UW is heavily dry hopped so as to push forward the tropical aromas further. In order to balance out the vast amounts of hops, we boosted the body too, giving a more balanced mouthfeel. And it says that it's got, yeah, basically malted barley, oats, hops and yeast. So I'm guessing with the oats in there, this one will be a New England IPA, this beer. There you can see a little black top on this one, so let's get it out and we will get on with the tasting. Really curious to see how this one turns out. Incidentally, I think this is a 440ml can and it is vegan friendly apparently. Opening this beer up, I'm suspecting there might be Galaxy in here and maybe a bit of Mosaic just from the aromas. As soon as you open this beer up, I think maybe Citra to be honest as well. Those are the three hops that are very, very popular at the moment. But yeah, as you can see with this beer, it's poured a lovely, hazy, golden colour. That if I hold it up to the light, it is more of a kind of darker orange actually when you let the light pass through it, but it does lean a little bit more towards the yellow side of things. You can see a finger and a third maybe of a frothy, I would say, perfect white head on that one. That one's not really creamy at all. It is a little, the bubbles in this one are a little bit bigger and more bumpy compared to some of the other ones that I've come across, but one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of the head there, but you know, overall it does look pretty nice, I have to say. If I put my fingers behind it, you can see it is pretty damn hazy, I have to say, but there's some lovely juicy fruity notes coming off of this one. I do think there's a bit of Mosaic in here. It's nice tangerine oranges that are coming out of this beer, and I do suspect that there might be a little bit of either Galaxy or Citra in here. So let's take a closer look at that aroma then and just see how we got on. In terms of the appearance, nothing particularly surprising about this one in terms of that, but yeah, let's see how we get on. Ooh, that really does smell very nice. The thing I'm noticing about this beer straight away, very juicy smell, but also very smooth and almost slightly sweet in the malty side of things actually. I think this is going to be really nice. When I checked it out on Rate Beer earlier, incidentally, I think it was a 91 it had overall and within the style, and I think it was something around like 3.74 that it had on Untappd as well. But yeah, this beer does smell really nice. The malty base is very, very oaty in this one. You really can smell the oats pushing their way out of this one. There's a little bit of a biscuity sweetness in there, but to me this smells like a very, very creamy oaty IPA. There's a nice sort of smooth white bready quality in there underneath, but yeah, really the malt base for me is leaning towards the smooth oaty side of things. So yeah, the more and more I smell this beer, the more of the green side of the hops is coming out a little bit. For me, it does have a nice little bit of a kind of piney, resinous quality to it, this one, but it's quite spicy and floral at the same time as well. I've always found, you know, Chinook, if you want pine resins, Chinook is always the kind of go-to hop in that regard. If you want it to be a little bit more spicy and floral, you use Columbus as your base hop mainly. So I do wonder, though, I suspect they might be using some of those in this beer as the base. But in fairness, you do get some nice spicy notes out of it, but the green side of the hops is quite noticeable in this one. It could be that I'm drinking this one just a little touch fresh, and that's one of the things I always say about the New England IPAs. It says best 1st of May 2019, so yeah, this one has been canned very recently actually. I'm reviewing this one just when it's been in the can for about 2 weeks. You do want to usually give these about 2-3 weeks in the can, so it should be alright just now. But yeah, in terms of the fruitiness, lovely juicy note to this one. Definitely some mangoes in there. I think there's a little bit of passion fruit as well. I do suspect that there might be, I think they've used Galaxy in here, to be honest. There's just something in my head that's saying Galaxy just because of the way the tropical fruits are coming out, and I think it's a little bit of passion fruit. I want to say a little bit of Mosaic as well, because there is just a more oily, orangey quality coming out of this one. Of course, Mosaic seems to have overtaken Amarillo these days in terms of giving orangey flavours to the beers, but I think, you know, on the other side of things, there is a little touch. I think there's a little bit of a blueberry in there, and I was noticing, to be honest, there was almost like a kind of white grapey quality to this beer when I was from the aroma, but when you go into it a little bit more, it's not quite as obvious. If I was betting on this beer, I always like playing guess the hops with these. I would suspect there might be Galaxy in here because of the passion fruit. The other option there, of course, would be Simcoe, but I think this one has a little bit more complexity to it than that. Simcoe I find to be very straight up, but I'm getting a little touch of an almost kind of slightly pineapple-y note out of this one, which makes me think it's Galaxy that's in here, which has become very popular, of course, and I do suspect there is Mosaic because you've got those nice, juicy tangerine notes, but you've also got a little bit of an almost blueberry-ish quality coming out on the nose there too. Maybe there is a little touch of mangoes, but if I was betting, I think Galaxy and Mosaic in this one. Could be completely wrong right enough, but it's always fun to guess the hops in this. But the aroma of this beer is very nice, really leaning towards, you can, when they say they've put the body in this up, you really can smell that this is quite a creamy oaty beer, but you also get some of these nice juicy fruity notes as well. So as I always say, take a little bit of time and just enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But we're going to have a taste of this one now. So this one is the UW, an IPA coming in at 6.3% from Dry and Bitter Brewing Company and Gorløse, just in the northwestern part of Copenhagen in Denmark. Let's get stuck into this one. Slange, skål. Oh yeah, this one definitely a bit thicker than the other New England IPAs I've had from these guys in the past. This one has a lovely big mouthfeel. It almost gives the impression of being slightly like a milkshake-ish IPA, to be honest with you. That's really unusual, I would say. Yeah, that's nice. That's definitely the thickest beer you're going to come across from Dry and Bitter, and you really can feel that nice oaty smoothness in there. So yeah, bear that in mind when you try this beer. This is a big, thick, but very, very smooth beer. And yeah, it is pretty fresh, but it's still, you know, you're still getting a really good balance in this one actually. This is a solid IPA from Dry and Bitter. Is it the best one they've done? I'm not quite sure. I mean, I'm not quite sure. They've got a hell of a lot of IPAs coming out of Dry and Bitter now, and they're all really good within their own right. I don't know if I like this one more than Hobo Checkout, but I'm a bit of a sucker for the West Coast IPAs with the caramel backbones to them. But this is a really, really nice New England IPA. For example, if you like the Ale Farm beers, because the Ale Farm ones are very almost like quite lactosey and thick. This one has that smoothness, but it just feels, the oaty quality is just a little bit more thick in this one. This beer actually reminds me a little bit of Fata Morgana from Omnipollo actually. It has that kind of vibe to it, but I think it's even thicker than that. So yeah, let's try and break the flavour of this one down a little bit then. Pull this away. So yeah, I live quite close to an ambulance depot, in case you're wondering, because a few of these videos have got sirens in them. But yeah, with this beer you can smell a nice, straight away you get that nice white bready quality that just blankets the middle of the palate there. On top of that, of course, you get this lovely, big, thick, creamy, oaty quality. In the very centre of your palate, it's a nice kind of, it really is quite a nice biscuity sweetness in there, but mainly this beer really leans towards the oaty side of things. The malt base is quite simple in this one. It really is just about you know, being quite thick and quite big. It's wheaty, it's got the nice oaty creaminess to it, and it's got a little bit of biscuit. You can't really state much more about it, to be honest. It's very kind of straight up in that regard. On the hoppy side of things then, in the back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little touch of earthiness in there, and as you come further forward, almost straight away, you get a nice sort of resinous floral quality to this one. It is quite spicy towards the front of the palate too, and then round the very front curve of the tongue it's just that little bit lighter and more grassy, I would say. Yeah, that's really nice. This one, you know, it doesn't do anything particularly surprising with the style, but it's just really well done, and you know, that's how we are with the New England IPAs these days. There's so many people doing them, but you get some, it is nice just to see them being kind of playing a bit of jiggery-pokery, I guess, with them. And this one definitely, if you like Fata Morgana from Omnipollo, I think this is one that really is going to suit your taste. If you like the Ale Farm, almost milkshakey type New England IPAs that they do, again, this is one that's going to suit you down to the ground as well, except this is a little bit thicker and not quite as sweet in the malt base, in my opinion. But yeah, we've covered the green side of the hops, and you can feel a nice little bit of that freshness there. The fruity side of things then is quite interesting, and as I always say, the fruity side of the beer comes out in that little oily bubble behind the front curve of the palate. Yeah, for me, if you just go behind the front curve of the tongue there, it really, for me, it's pretty much about passion fruit. There is a little touch maybe of grapefruit at the back of this there, but mainly it's a passion fruity note that comes out of this one. As you come further forward, I think it becomes a little bit more orangey. I do, there is something in my head that's just saying there might be a bit of mosaic in here. I'm getting a little bit of an orangey tangerine note out of this one, just a bit further forward on the palate. On the very tip of the tongue, there's a little touch of that almost blueberry flavour, but it really has a lovely blend of flavours actually. Yeah, passion fruit. I think maybe a little touch of a lighter mango as well, and some pineapples too. The more that you drink of this one, the more the tropical fruit becomes a little bit more complex, but definitely I think leaning towards the orangey side of things. The orangey tangerine side of things further forward on the palate, but you've got a nice little tip of a nice little touch of blueberry on the very tip of your tongue there. So overall, I mean, it's very straight up, this beer. Oats, little bit of biscuit, little good bit of wheaty base in there, nice sort of spicy floral aromatic notes, and then passion fruit with a little touch of orange. That's the main components of this beer. Very straight up, but it does do what it wants to do. Really quite solid, and you know, sometimes you need beers like that. This is a very kind of, it's a nice example of the style, this one. It really does have a thicker mouthfeel than the other ones I've encountered. That's probably the novelty thing to say about this beer actually. So have a go at it for yourself and just see what you think. In terms of the mouthfeel then, carbonation is very, very smooth on this one. The mouthfeel overall, I would say, is probably at the top end of mid-body. It could even be at the bottom end of full-bodied. It's somewhere kind of around there, but a very thick but quite smooth mouthfeel to this one. I would say the mouthfeel overall is very smooth on this one, but it's not quite as creamy as some of the New England IPAs that I've come across, in fairness. The carbonation smooths it out really nicely. The malt base is, it has a little touch of sweetness to it, but mainly it is that kind of smooth oaty kind of quality. The oats don't have too much of a sweetness. I was thinking in the malt base from the aroma they might actually have a good little bit of sweetness to them, but to me they're very kind of straight up and very smooth. Nice little bit of hoppy bitterness in there. I think you're talking maybe about 40 IBUs with this beer, maybe a little bit less to be honest, but yeah, 35 IBUs could be a better bet. And some lovely, nice, juicy, fruity qualities to it as well. But overall, another very, very solid IPA from Dry and Bitter. Does it quite beat the Hobo Chick? I'm not sure about that, but if you like a nice, thick New England IPA with the more kind of smooth, oaty qualities, then I think you will quite enjoy this one. So just have a go at it for yourself and see what you think. So we'll leave it at that for this one. Have a go at this beer and just see what you think. I think it is a fairly new release, this one. I hadn't seen it before, but definitely worth trying if you like Fata Morgana or some of the Ale Farm IPAs too. But yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Dry and Bitter Brewery as well, and I'm sure we'll return to these guys over the next couple of months again. But once again, thank you for watching. Check out my social media, and I will catch you guys later. This is the UW, an IPA, a New England IPA at 6.3% from Dry and Bitter Brewery in Gurlas in Copenhagen in Denmark. Definitely one for those of you who like a big, thick, smooth New England IPA. Till the next time, slide just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Let's go.